Edward Snowden, private life hero or dangerous traitor? The story dates back to 2013 when Edward Snowden handed over thousands of NA intelligence documents. It was one of the most significant leaks in US history, with an unremarkable CIA technical assistant behind it. Where it all began. Snowden was born in North Carolina, and his family moved to Central Maryland when he was a child. He dropped out of high school and barely finished his GED, never earning a college degree. In May 2004, he joined the Army, but was discharged 4 months later. In 2005, he worked as a security guard at an NSA-affiliated center. Despite his relative lack of formal education and training, Snowden demonstrated an aptitude for computers, and in 2006, he was hired by the Central Intelligence Agency. He received a top-secret security clearance and was sent to Geneva in 2007, where he worked as a network security technician under diplomatic cover. Snowden left the CIA for the NSA in 2009. He worked as a private contractor for Dell and Booz Allen Hamilton. During that time, he began collecting information on several NSA activities, most notably secret surveillance programs that he felt were too broad in size and scope. In May 2013, Snowden requested medical leave and flew to Hong Kong, where he conducted a series of interviews with journalists from The Guardian newspaper over the next month. Footage taken during this period was featured in the documentary Citizen 4. Among the NSA secrets Snowden made public was a court order requiring telecommunications company Verizon to hand over millions of subscribers' metadata, such as dialed numbers and call duration. Snowden also revealed the existence of PRISM, a data mining program that reportedly gave the NSA, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Government Communications Center, the British equivalent of the NSA, direct access to the servers of internet giants such as Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and Apple. In 2015, The Intercept published some of the secret documents that Snowden had managed to steal. They contained information about the program of killing people with the help of drones, which were used in Yemen, Somalia, and Afghanistan with the authorization of the country's top leadership. From the materials, for example, it follows that US President Barack Obama personally, 2012, authorized the killing of at least 20 people in Yemen and Somalia, and who exactly were the targets of the operation were not called. In total, between January 2012 and February 2013, more than 200 people were killed by drones in northeastern Afghanistan, and only 35 of them were pre-designated targets for attack. As far as can be understood from the materials, there are two separate programs for the use of drones as assassination weapons, separately in the CIA and separately in the US Department of Defense. The published documents refer to both programs because the source of the information is an intelligence officer who worked in both agencies. It is clear from the presentations that there are special guidelines for intelligence officers involved in these types of programs. These guidelines, for example, require that a special parameter CDE, collateral damage environment, be determined before an attack, which shows how many people who are not the target of the operation can be harmed. In particular, at least two separate agents must provide consistent information that the target of the attack is actually in the right place. The value of CDE was often not taken into account. This was further evidence of US war crimes in Afghanistan, but the valuable information was wider than this. US and UK intelligence agencies managed to crack the encryption system protecting the personal data, emails, and banking transactions of millions of internet users and companies. The Guardian reported this, citing documents provided by former CIA employee Edward Snowden. According to the newspaper, the U.S. National Security Agency, NSA, not only cracked existing ciphers using supercomputers, but also, through secret cooperation with IT companies and internet providers, discovered vulnerabilities in encryption mechanisms and weakened international standards. The Guardian reports that the U.S. National Security Agency's NSA decade-long anti-crypto program made a breakthrough in 2010 when the intelligence agency collected a huge amount of data. At the same time, the annual budget of the secret NSA program is estimated to be only $250 million, according to the documents. According to Edward Snowden, Washington has carried out more than 61,000 hacking attacks worldwide over the past few years, with hundreds targeting China and Hong Kong. We penetrate huge internet servers. This allows us to access data sharing between hundreds of thousands of computers without having to hack each one individually, Snowden revealed. He emphasized that the U.S. has been monitoring Chinese computer systems since 2009. The objects of attack are local officials, business people, and students. Thus, the Chinese University of Hong Kong is among the IP addresses Snowden provided to the newspaper. At the same time, it does not include any military structure. The newspaper, however, emphasizes that it cannot verify the authenticity of this information. The Washington Post reports that Snowden's statement about U.S. surveillance of China has received an unprecedented response on the Chinese social network Weibo. More than 200,000 users published the message. The U.S. still had something against China. It seems as if one thief is accusing another. Shame on you. Such comments were made in the Chinese segment of the internet. On June 9, 2013, a few days after the articles were first published in The Guardian and The Washington Post, without revealing their source's identity, Snowden said that he did not feel the need to go into hiding because he had done nothing wrong. In a subsequent interview with the South China Morning Post, he said he took a job at Booz Allen Hamilton to get information about the NSA's secret activities. On June 14th, the U.S. charged Snowden with espionage and Justice Department officials, including Attorney General Eric Holder. Snowden then checked out of his Hong Kong hotel and went into hiding. His plan was to fly to Moscow, then to Cuba, and finally to Ecuador, where he was to seek asylum. However, the U.S. government revoked his passport on the first leg of that journey, leaving him trapped at the Moscow airport. Russian President Vladimir Putin has confirmed that Snowden, whose passport was revoked by the U.S., remains within the international transit zone of Moscow's Sheremetyevo airport. Putin said Russia would not participate in his extradition to the U.S. Snowden has sought asylum in about 20 countries, including Russia. Putin also clarified that he did not want Snowden's presence to spoil relations with the United States. He said that if Snowden wanted to stay in Russia, he should stop his work aimed at harming our American partners. After spending more than a month in the Sheremetyevo transit zone, Russia granted Snowden temporary refugee status and left the airport. Was Snowden able to change the situation in the United States? It's more likely yes than no. Although U.S. President Barack Obama was critical of Snowden's methods, in August 2013 he announced the creation of an independent commission to examine surveillance practices. The findings of this commission, released in December 2013, recommended suspending the mass collection of phone records and increased oversight of sensitive programs, such as those targeting friendly foreign leaders. In April 2014, The Guardian US and The Washington Post were awarded the Pulitzer Prize for their role in covering the NSA leaks. Snowden described the award as vindication for exposing secret surveillance programs. How did Snowden's story end? When Snowden's temporary asylum expired in August 2014, the Russian government issued him a 3-year residence permit, effective August 1st, that allowed him to leave the country for up to 3 months. The permit was renewed in 2017, and Snowden was granted permanent residency in 2020. In 2020, Snowden said he and his wife applied for Russian citizenship so that they would not be separated from their Russian-born son amid a pandemic and border closures. Russian President Vladimir Putin granted Snowden Russian citizenship in September 2022. He has received numerous awards, including the Thomas S. Zaz for outstanding contributions to civil liberties in 2020. He was also nominated for the 2016 Nobel Peace Prize. Snowden has over 5 million followers on Twitter and regularly appears in satellite interviews discussing privacy issues. His revelations and thoughts on privacy and security stay on the newspaper pages, fueling fear and mistrust. Reading the Snowden documents, I realized that if the NSA wants to enter your computer, it will get in there, period, said cryptographer Bruce Schneier in Gordon Corer's book, The Intercept. Former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder thanked Snowden for starting a public debate about privacy, but previously said he would still punish him. He broke the law. He has harmed our national security, and I believe he should be held accountable for his actions. Edward Snowden has not asked the president for a pardon, although others have done so on his behalf. He plans to remain overseas until his only condition is met. My condition of return is a fair trial. The Snowden story teaches us that protecting data privacy is crucial in today's digital age. Its importance extends to political and ethical issues related to government transparency and citizen freedom. This case also shows us that discussing the balance between security and individual liberty is essential to shaping fair policies within the state.